For decades, the world of general aviation has been powered by a familiar heartbeat. The engines humming under the cowlings of most single-engine aircraft are marvels of reliability. They are based on designs from Lycoming and Continental that have remained largely unchanged since the mid-20th century. This technology, while proven and dependable, is a product of a different era. Pilots have learned to manage their quirks, from tricky cold starts to the need for careful preheating in colder climates. These air-cooled, direct-drive power plants are the bedrock of the industry, but they also represent a technological standstill in a world that has otherwise moved on. The persistence of these legacy designs has created a significant gap between aviation and other modern transportation sectors. The reliance on old technology has consequences that extend beyond the cockpit. These engines are known for their specific maintenance needs and operational complexities, which can be intimidating for new pilots. They often require specialized knowledge that has been passed down through generations of mechanics and aviators. Furthermore, their fuel efficiency and emissions standards are far behind what modern engineering can achieve. While they have carried countless pilots safely through the skies, they are not designed for the environmental or economic realities of the 21st century. This technological stagnation presents a barrier to entry, making it harder and more expensive to get into flying, which ultimately impacts the growth of the entire general aviation community. This situation has created a clear opening for innovation. While the major manufacturers have been slow to introduce entirely new piston engine designs, smaller, more agile companies are stepping up to the challenge. Firms like Adept Airmotive, along with others such as Rotax and EPS, see an opportunity to redefine what a general aviation engine can be. They are not just tweaking old designs, they are starting from a clean sheet, using modern materials, manufacturing techniques, and design philosophies. The goal is to build an engine that is not only more powerful and efficient, but also simpler to operate and maintain. This new wave of engine development is one of the most exciting things happening in general aviation today. The introduction of new engines is critical for the future health of the industry. To attract a new generation of pilots, flying needs to become more accessible, affordable, and aligned with modern expectations. An engine that starts as easily as a car, runs on more readily available fuel, and requires less intensive maintenance could dramatically lower the barrier to entry. It could also make flying more environmentally friendly and economically sustainable for flight schools and aircraft owners. The question is not whether general aviation needs new engines, but whether these new designs can deliver on their promises and gain the trust of a rightfully cautious community. The Adept Airmotive 320T is a prime example of this new wave of thinking. It is not an evolution of a classic design, it is a complete reimagining of the aircraft piston engine. From the ground up, the Adept was engineered to solve the inherent problems of legacy power plants. One of the most significant differences is its liquid cooling system. Unlike the traditional air-cooled engines that rely on airflow over cylinders, the Adept uses a liquid coolant, much like a modern car engine. This provides far more stable and uniform engine temperatures, which eliminates the risk of shock cooling during rapid descents and allows for tighter engineering tolerances. This fundamental design choice is the foundation for many of its other advanced features. Another key innovation lies in its manufacturing process. The Adept engine utilizes modern techniques that were unavailable to designers in the 1950s. A standout feature is the extensive use of three-dimensional printing, also known as additive manufacturing. This technology allows engineers to create complex parts that are both lighter and stronger than traditionally cast or machined components. By using three-dimensional printing, Adept has been able to dramatically simplify the engine's construction. This approach is not just a novelty. Major aerospace giants like Pratt & Whitney are also heavily investing in additive manufacturing to reduce part counts and improve efficiency, validating the manufacturing philosophy that Adept has embraced for its general aviation engine. This modern design philosophy results in a strikingly simpler machine. The Adept 320T has approximately one-third fewer parts than a comparable engine from Lycoming or Continental. Fewer parts means fewer potential points of failure, which is a critical consideration in aviation. It also simplifies assembly and maintenance, potentially reducing long-term ownership costs. A key element of this simplification is the engine's gear reduction unit. This allows the engine to run at a higher, more efficient RPM, while the propeller turns at a slower, optimal speed. This gearbox is designed for incredible durability, with a projected time between overhaul of 20,000 hours, far exceeding the typical 2,000-hour time between overhaul of most components in traditional engines. The combination of these features creates an engine that is fundamentally different from what most pilots are used to. It is a V6 engine, which contributes to its smoother operation compared to the boxer or flat 4 and 6-cylinder engines that dominate the market. The liquid cooling, gear reduction, and modern internal components all work together to create a power plant that promises to be more efficient, more reliable, and easier to live with. The Adept 320T is not just a new engine, it represents a new direction for propulsion in light aircraft, aiming to bring general aviation technology into the modern era. The innovative design of the Adept engine translates directly into practical advantages for pilots. One of the most celebrated claims is a significant improvement in fuel economy. Adept Airmotive states that its 320T engine is about 20% more fuel efficient than its direct competitors from the legacy manufacturers. For a flight school or a private owner, this could represent thousands of dollars in savings over the life of the engine. This efficiency also means lower emissions, making flying a more environmentally responsible activity. In an age of fluctuating fuel prices and growing environmental awareness, this benefit alone makes the new engine a very attractive proposition for the future of aviation. Beyond the cost savings, the Adept engine promises a much improved user experience. The operational headaches associated with traditional engines are largely designed out. Thanks to its liquid cooling system and modern engine management, cold starts are expected to be as simple and reliable as starting a modern car. The need for preheating the engine in cold weather, a cumbersome but necessary procedure for air-cooled engines, is eliminated. Maintenance is also simplified with the ability to use modern automotive oils instead of specialized and expensive aviation-grade lubricants. These changes reduce the pre-flight workload and make the aircraft more accessible and less intimidating, especially for student pilots. The in-flight experience is also set to be transformed. The V6 configuration and liquid cooling contribute to a noticeably smoother and quieter operation. Pilots accustomed to the characteristic vibration and roar of a direct-drive, air-cooled engine will immediately notice the difference. Reduced vibration not only makes for a more comfortable ride for pilots and passengers, but also decreases wear and tear on the airframe and avionics over time. A quieter cabin makes communication easier and reduces pilot fatigue on long flights. These quality-of-life improvements are significant and could make flying more enjoyable and appealing to a broader audience. These benefits combine to make a compelling case for how new engines could help grow the pilot population. By making airplanes easier to start, cheaper to run, and more comfortable to fly, engines like the Adept 320T lower many of the psychological and financial barriers that keep people out of the cockpit. A flight school operating a fleet of aircraft with these modern engines could offer more affordable training. A new pilot looking to buy their first airplane might find ownership less daunting. Ultimately, an engine that behaves more like the technology people are familiar with in their daily lives could be the key to revitalizing interest in general aviation. Despite the compelling advantages, new engines like the Adept 320T face a formidable journey to widespread adoption. The first major hurdle is certification. Aviation authorities like the FAA have a rigorous and expensive process for approving new engine designs for use in production aircraft. This process is designed to ensure the highest levels of safety and reliability, but it can be a significant financial and logistical challenge for a smaller company. While the Adept is currently available for the experimental aircraft market, achieving full-type certification is a critical step for it to be installed in the majority of the general aviation fleet. This process takes time, money, and an immense amount of testing and validation. Even with full certification, the next challenge is market acceptance. The aviation community is inherently conservative, and for good reason. When you are thousands of feet in the air, you want an engine with a proven track record. Legacy engines from Lycoming and Continental have decades of real-world service and millions of flight hours behind them. Pilots and mechanics know them inside and out. A new engine, no matter how promising, must build that same level of trust from the ground up. It will take time for the Adept engine to accumulate a service history that convinces skeptical owners and operators to make the switch from what they know and trust. Cost, is another significant barrier. Developing a new engine from scratch is an expensive endeavor, and those costs are inevitably reflected in the final purchase price. While the Adept may offer long-term savings through fuel efficiency and lower maintenance, its upfront cost could be higher than that of a traditional engine. Aircraft owners and manufacturers will need to be convinced that the total cost of ownership justifies the initial investment. This financial calculation, combined with the need for proven reliability, means that the adoption of new engines will likely be a gradual process, rather than a sudden revolution in the industry. In conclusion, the Adept Airmotive 320T and other engines like it represent a vital and exciting future for general aviation. The innovation they bring, better fuel economy, smoother operation, lower emissions, and greater simplicity, is exactly what the industry needs to thrive and attract new pilots. However, the path forward is challenging. Overcoming the hurdles of certification, building market trust, and managing costs will require patience and persistence. The future of the Adept engine is cautiously optimistic. It has the potential to be a game changer, but its success will ultimately depend on its ability to prove its reliability and value in the real world, one flight hour at a